All right. What is going on, Reds fans? We normally don't go live in the top of the inning if the Reds are winning on the road, but today, you know what? I said let's just get on here. Let's get rolling. First off, let's make sure we sync up. What's going on, Shay?
How you doing?
I just saw Friedel reach first base.
Yeah, we're about at the same spot. I was messing with it before we even went live, so I think we're pretty close.
What a legend, man. What a legend. All right.
I'll tell you what, Nick, I think it was Bryce Spalding tweet this, but I don't know where the Brewers find all these bullpen arms, but this Uribe guy is nasty.
Dude, they are incredible at just hoarding arms like that. That's definitely their strength of the franchise. And hey, I think the Red strength of the franchise is developing some hitting prospects. So both teams kind of do their thing. Reds could certainly probably get better with pitching. Brewers get better with hitting. So it makes a series like this, I think, a lot of fun.
Oh, they called that a balk. Did you just see the balk?
Oh, yeah, okay. I just saw the balk. All right, we're close. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Craig Counsell's had a rough last couple innings.
I mean, Sir Boy, how do you not buy the hype, brother?
No, I'm buying the hype.
All right, well, we are going on super early. So, again, if you are watching this after the fact, right below in the notes, I'll have a timestamp of when we start like the actual normal show that'll sound like a podcast. So you can just skip to that if you don't want to watch us two knuckleheads just watch an inning of baseball, which Craig Counsell's out arguing, and this might take a while. So
I think Craig Counsell wants to watch the show, and I think he's trying to get tossed.
Yeah, I think Craig Counsell's like, yeah, I've had enough here.
Craig Counsell knows that Chatterbox Reds is on.
He does. That's a good point. That is a very, very good point. You know what? I was not prepared. I'm going to go off screen for just a second. Hold on.
All right, Chad, how we doing? I guess I'm your pilot here for the next 20 seconds. How's everyone doing? Elly's pretty great, isn't he? Craig Counsell's getting an early shower. Man, they're walking him back to the dugout. He does not want to go quietly. That's good to hear, RM. Glad you're doing okay. Who is Shea? Shea is me. And Shea is also the catcher for the Oakland A's. We are the same person. Buyer of hype. Yeah, that's right. I am a buyer of hype.
All right, I'm back. I got to text my wife here. I forgot. I got a new TV. My other TV went out, and I don't know what the Peacock login is, and I want to watch MLB Marte here in a second.
Is that Futures game about to start?
Yeah, it starts at 7. I forgot it was we were up against it, and I forgot I don't have it logged in. So,
Sir boy, there's no one I'd rather have than Elly. Absolutely nobody. Man, we've had a little mini 10-minute delay here.
This always happens whenever we go live a little earlier, Shay. It's like a curse. It's like a curse almost, I think.
I know.
All right, let's install the Peacock app. All right.
Shea Hillenbrand is another one of my names. Yep, Langoliers, Hillenbrand. Yep, many Shays in many forms.
Get through. All right.
Beat it out. Let's go.
I was hoping he's going to throw that away. That was a stupid throw. That was a very poor decision by Willie Adames.
That was Terang, but yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever it was a stupid decision. I mean, you're not going to get him out. I mean, that's just a bad decision to throw with a runner on,
Especially with somebody like McLean's speed, yeah.
Yeah, you had no chance. And all right, come on, India. Come on, buddy.
You got to come through, Johnny.
Hey, I think that'll work.
You know what? We'll take that.
Hey, man, any run is huge.
We'll take that. And folks, here comes the most entertaining man in baseball.
Are they booing him?
I'd hope so. Well, they can't like him, Nick.
Whole bunch of Davey Martinez's in the stands.
I know. Brewers fans are a bunch of haters.
Oh, I hear the Reds chants. I know Trace is leading that. I just see him up on his feet.
Trace is probably standing on the Brewers dugout.
I gotta ask Trace. I wonder how what's the over-under on how many sporting events Trace has been kicked out of?
Oh, it's got to be 25. Yeah, exactly, sir boy. If you're getting booed, it means that they respect you and that they fear you. People don't boo mediocre. They boo greatness. Absolutely.
There you go.
Boo greatness.
I'd love to see him just tank one. Hit Bernie Brewer on the top of the slide.
I know. He hit Bernie Brewer. Oh, no. He's even given up a run in this 9th inning, Nick, and he's just casually throwing 101. This is crazy. Oh, that's very nice, sir boy. I'm thinking I'm more like a Jake Fraley, and I'm really only good against one side, but I do appreciate the compliment. Nick, what if you could compare my guest appearances on Chatterbox to a current Reds player? Who would it be? I think Elly's jumping the gun a little too much. There's still a chance for regression on my end.
I think you're a Spencer Steer. I think you're a well-rounded player. You're versatile. You've come on whenever we've needed you. I think you're a Spencer Steer.
You know what? I appreciate that. I think that's a good compliment to get. Look at
and they've made some incredible
catches. Terang just went from one of the dumbest plays we've seen to just unbelievable play.
They are very good defensively, I do got to say. That's another thing I think makes them as good as they are.
I mean, they're a solid baseball team, Nick. They're 1 or 2 bats away from being probably a 90-95 win team.
They're a good Jesse Winker away.
A good Jesse Winker away. That's probably true.
Was he a healthy scratch today against Luke Weaver?
I think he was.
That's insane.
And they're also supposed to get Woodruff back about the same time that the Reds get Hunter and Lodolo back.
Oh my God, this is so hard to log in. I'm really sorry, folks. I screwed the pooch on this one.
Oh.
Oh, no, I screwed it up. Yeah, I'm pitching Diaz pretty much, unless they put up a 7 spot. I'm not. There's 2 games left. Don't get cute.
Right. I think even if it gets to, I think even if, like you said, if it gets to 9-5 or 10-5, I think they still bring in Alexis. You have to make sure you nail this game down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he had pitched yesterday, then yeah, maybe it's a different, calculation. Right. But the fact that he hasn't,
I would. All right, here we go. 1-2. Oh boy, that hung. I think it's gonna stay in the yard. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Since we've brought up both Shea Hillenbrand and Shea Langoliers, I will make a little game for everyone in chat. If anyone ever asks me on Twitter, showing me that they used a Shea on their immaculate grid, I would be pretty stoked about
that. I love it.
Shea Langoliers went yard the other night, Nick, and the Oakland A's Twitter account said Shea delivers, and I just couldn't help myself, and I said Shea always comes through.
You know what? You got to capitalize on that when you can. All right, finally got the password in. Let's see. Come on, baby. Yeah, we're in. All right. Whew, that was a roller coaster, man.
A roller coaster. Kind of like the last 4 innings of this game.
All right. We'll keep you updated, folks, on the futures game. I got a little graphic. Noelvi Marte's batting 5th. So if we, I'm guessing it's going to be going on while we're doing the show. So I'll pause if we're into the actual show and Marte bats, kind of tell you what he's doing. Watch that together. So we'll have a good night. We're supposedly also having a prospect or a draft guy come in from Just Baseball. Really cool guy. Going to give us a quick rundown of what's going on, what he thinks the Reds might do, who might be available at pick 7 tomorrow. So we got a lot of fun stuff going on today. Let's write it out.
Absolutely. And a win would make it even more fun.
Elly outs are exciting. Yeah, I mean, it's just this dude's unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Okay, Craig. So I'll walk you through this. So my wife signed up for a free Peacock. I'm not a Peacock guy. I don't watch Peacock I think the last time I probably watched Peacock was the last Futures game last year. But she signed up for something on her own. And I had it on my TV, but I got a new TV, and I hadn't put Peacock in because I don't ever watch Peacock. But we're in. We're going to watch Noelvi Marte. We're going to watch Alexis Diaz. Oh, Jesse Winker's pinch hitting. Oh, man. Jesse's going to shut me up, Shay.
I hope not.
I'm glad he's the first batter.
Oh, man.
Glad he's not coming in with 2 runners on base.
2 on, 2 outs. Here comes Winker. Yeah, that'd freak me out.
Everett, I love The Office. I'm a big Office fan. I've watched The Office like 3 or 4 times through. So, but I'm a huge Office guy. Huge Office guy.
Big Office guy, not a big Peacock guy.
Are you an Office guy, Shay?
I am an Office guy. I do like The Office.
I have no idea how anyone doesn't like The Office. I feel like now I just watch I get on Office TikTok and there's like a whole bunch of like clips, and so like I feel like I still watch The Office all the time, even though I don't actually.
I know
watch an episode.
There's some of those shows you just find clips everywhere. It's like you're never not watching it. All right, it'll be Winker, Yelich, and Who hits 2? William Contreras. Ooh, good slider.
Honestly, I'm a little surprised they pinch hit for Weimer. I mean, I feel like Weimer's had a great series, huh?
He has. Ooh. My. Heads up to Rachel in the front row. Oh, man.
Deal or no deal.
On the bright side, Alexis dialed it up to 97.
Sir boy, I'm a big binge watcher. I would watch a show like as quickly as I could all the way through. And then I really don't often watch shows back again or movies. I'm usually a one and done guy. My wife, on the other hand, like she's watched Gilmore Girls 463 times through. I can't do that. But respect to her and other people who do like that. Sit down, Jake Fraley light.
What a backdoor slider. Gross. Jake Fraley light.
Diet Jake Fraley.
Must be nice for the Brewers to have great value Jake Fraley.
Kroger brand Jake Fraley.
Now we can talk crap about him because he struck out.
Yeah, I know. I waited.
Who needs Winker or Suarez?
Not this team.
This team.
All right. Pirates lose. Got to stay focused here.
Having Yelich come up with a 3-run lead and nobody on is huge.
Yeah. He's having a really incredible bounce back here. I got to be honest. I thought his career was toast. So, I mean, good for him.
Come on, Lexi. Punch him out. Let's go. Woo!
Boom. We got good Alexis today, folks.
Oh, this is a great sign. Fate rides in the hands of William Contreras.
Are you hearing the music?
I'm not. I turned off the audio for the game.
So Contreras' walkout song.
Oh, he comes up to Edwin's song. Yep.
Yeah. that was interesting.
I wonder if that just kind of like peeves Alexis.
Yeah. I would think so.
You'd think, yeah. It's like, yeah, don't take his song. Ooh. Oh, my goodness. That slider is biting today. Nick, I'm going to wait until the end of the game to have you do this, but I'm going to have you rank 3 of the Reds closers of the last decade. Who do you think's best to worst?
Okay. You're gonna give them to me, though, right?
Yeah, it's going to be Chapman, Iglesias, and Diaz.
Ooh.
But I'm going to make sure Diaz locks this game down first because I can change your answer.
Yeah, let's not jinx that. If he blows this, he's toast.
In fact, if he blows this,
he'll be
Diaz
behind JJ Hoover.
He's 3, yeah.
I'm just kidding on that.
Give me Ross Ohlendorf.
He was a closer, wasn't he?
For like a year.
I'm very glad Willie Adames is not the tying run.
Whenever the Reds are up 1 in the 9th, they should just bring in Dan Straley and put Billy Hamilton in center. Ball game.
There you go.
I said last decade, Craig. Danny Graves would certainly be on that list.
All right, we're 4 batters away from Noelvi Marte in the Futures game, folks. I know you're dialed in on that.
That playable? Nope. Why does it have to be Adames, Nick? Why does it have to be Adames?
Hey, he's not the. His run is meaningless, Shay. His run
I'm just saying, Willie Adames feels like the new Ian Happ, man.
I mean, this guy just turns into. But like Ian Happ's actually is a pretty good hitter. Willie Adames is not a very good hitter.
Willy Adames is, I don't know. Willy Adames turns into Corey Seager when he's playing the Reds. All right, one good slider, and this one's over. Yeah, maybe don't put it there again. I know, Nick, you've mentioned it, but if the Reds hang on and win this one, they officially clinch being alone in first at the All-Star break. So this is a big win if they can get it.
This would be a big one. I only asked for one this weekend.
I know. And it'd be kind of cool to get it before the rubber match.
Yeah.
Ground ball. Ooh. Ooh. That was close. All right. Well, the Reds are going to be alone atop the division at the break, Nick. You know what that means?
Well, hold on. Let's make sure they're not going to challenge this. Was it close?
It was close, but I think he's out. We'll see. Reds are celebrating like they're not challenging this.
They're challenging it. Yeah, they're challenging.
I mean, they have nothing to lose, but
yeah. That was not a good play by Elly. I'm not sure.
No, it was not.
That's close.
That's close.
I mean, umpire had a great view. I don't know how he would have missed it.
Umpires in this series and missing things is a pretty
true.
Lethal combination, Nick. My only thing is, did that front foot ever like come down on the bag? It almost like popped up. All right, we'll see.
The Bally Crew has not been great about replays here this series.
No, they have not.
They did show a replay of Elly stealing home for like forever. And now, granted, I mean, I'm sure they probably fell out of their chairs too.
They sent the interns on the road trip.
Give me a call stands for the
Please,
win.
call stands, yep.
Just to add fuel to the fire in Milwaukee.
He's out.
Call stands.
Call
stands. Call stands. Reds win. Reds win.
We're at the
high drive. Left center field. Racing back to the wall. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Win. Line to the right field. Genius, the first run ever. With 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the no-hitter. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy moly, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to the career of Cruz.
All right, what is going on? Welcome to Chatterbox Reds. Nick Kirby joined with Shay Neal. Shay, how we feeling on this Saturday early evening?
We're starting a new streak, Nick, but this one's a good one, and it's a 2-game winning streak. It's nice. Reds back up to 2 up in the division. Really nice way to kind of negate yesterday, and now a chance to win a huge series tomorrow. But good to get this one out of the way and officially clinch being alone in first at the All-Star break.
Absolutely. And Shay, you're on a 2-game winning streak of yourself, my friend.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we are on Noelvi Marte watch, as mentioned before we went live. I believe Noelvi is going to be due up second in the top of the second inning. It is in the bottom of the first now, so we'll keep you updated on how Noelvi Marte does during this game. Definitely interested in tracking that. But your Reds, they get it done, Shay. What a win. Let's run through the box score recap. Willy Adames struck the Reds yet again. He had 2 home runs off Luke Weaver. Willy Adames now has 13 career home runs against the Reds. He does not have more than 8 against any other team. But the Reds, as we've seen this entire 2023 season, they fought back. Will Benson hit a solo home run, his 4th of the season. And then Joey Votto hit a 3-run tank job, 423 feet, 107.2 off the bat. That tied the ball game up at 4 in the top of the 4th. 39-year-old Joey Votto has 7 home runs in 16 games. Luke Weaver, he allowed a run in the bottom of the 4th, and the Brewers led again at 5-4. Weaver was chased from the game, but Ian Jabot did a nice job to strand a runner at third base with only 1 out, keep the game at 5-4. Top of the 5th, Matt McLain singled. He stole second base, and then Jake Fraley singled him home to tie the game up at 5. Ian Jabot retired all 4 batters he faced. Duarte struggled a bit in the 6th, but Lucas Sims got out of a bases-loaded jam with the Brewers' best hitter, Christian Yelich, up, a really pivotal point in this ballgame. In the top of the 7th, TJ Friedel and Matt McLain had leadoff singles. That brought up Jonathan India. India showed bunt on the first pitch. Then he grounded into his 11th double play of the season. But Jonathan India owes Elly de la Cruz a steak dinner and then some. Elly ripped a single, driving home Friedel. He then did the unthinkable. He stole second, third, and then caught the Brewers off guard, stealing home. It was the first time since 1919 that a Reds player stole all 3 bases, and Elly was the first Red to steal home since Brandon Phillips in 2009. Reds took a 7-5 lead. Lucas Sims threw a perfect 7th. Buck Farmer scoreless 8th. Reds got another run on an India sac fly to make it 8-5, and then Alexis Diaz got the job done in the 9th. Your Cincinnati Reds win 8-5, now 2 games up in the NL Central. Reds are guaranteed to be in first place at the All-Star break. And coming in hot, Trace Fowler. What's going on, brother?
I have never, let me get myself in picture here. I have never in my life, this is really hard to do while I'm walking, in my life, been that close to literally like falling or passing out from just pure electricity than when Elly just stole a run. Just straight up like Little League stuff. Stole second base. Took third because nobody thought in their world, well, it doesn't matter. You can let anybody go to third with 2 outs. Not a big deal. And you could see, I got to stop for a second. You could see him considering taking home for every bit of like 6 seconds. And then he just straight up took off, and I almost lost it. But we needed this win. Once again, I know I got to get going. I'm not to brag, but I'm going to Imagine Dragons concert. I got to go. But another Luke Weaver start. Another Luke Weaver DFA. He's the worst pitcher in the world. We're not going to be able to win. Wait until I send some DMs I got today about Luke Weaver. Can I do this? This is much better. Okay, this is much better. Wait until you see some of the DMs I got today. I was told that Luke Weaver cost us a playoff spot. I was told it was a big news. I know. Anyways, Luke Weaver's not very good. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying every time he pitches, the Reds win. It's just science. I don't know how to say it, but I love you guys. You guys enjoy yourselves. Can't wait to get back into the studio and the lab. I know some people are upset about that. I've seen on Twitter, but that's okay. I'm not worried about the haters because the electricity that just happened inside of there because of Elly de la Cruz is something this isn't hyperbole. I've never experienced that in my life. It got so loud in there when he started taking off for home plate that the pitcher, I don't even think he knew what the hell was going on. He clearly didn't. Joey Votto too. Did he hit a home run in this game?
Yes.
Pretty big one.
Sure did.
I think he did.
Hit a dunk at the end.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, this team's stupid. Like, it's just somebody new every single night. I'm not sure what Elly was doing on that last out, though, by the way. That was a little sketchy. That's here nor there. All right, I'm going to go so you guys can hold a relevant show. And from American Field, also known as Joey Votto North, he loves American families, like I said. He loves American families, and he definitely loves this field. So shout out to Joey Votto. I never doubted him, but I might have. And I'll leave on that.
All right, Trace. Well, there he is, coming in hot. Live
What would the show be without Trace?
There would be no show without
There
Trace.
would be no show.
Trace keeps us keeps me humble and keeps us going. But yeah, what a ball game. Let's run through it here. Let's start with Elly De La Cruz. I don't know. Shay, what I don't have words for what he did.
I don't know if I can sum it up any better, Nick. He's unbelievable. First of all, he ends up with the single that gives the Reds the lead. It ends up being the game-winning run. And second of all, then he steals second, which he's done a lot. He steals third, which he's done a little bit too. And then just the fact that at the age of 21, he has the IQ to make what's the word I'm looking for? Make that split-second decision where the pitcher stops paying attention for half a second and go home. It's just unbelievable that he does that. And, he's just unbelievable. I don't think I can sum it up any better than that. He's unbelievable. Elly De La Cruz, happy he's a Red.
It's just incredible when you think about Elly De La Cruz. Less than a year ago, he was still playing for the Dayton Dragons. That's 3 levels below the major leagues. Elly De La Cruz came up with more hype than any player in the history of the Reds franchise, close to as much as really anyone in baseball. And somehow he's exceeded the hype. And it's just, as someone who watched a lot of Elly De La Cruz in the minors, like anyone who watched him expected him to be great, but somehow he's even exceeded those expectations so far. It's a long season. We'll see, how his season goes, but the guy's got a 328 average, an 899 OPS. He's already stole 16 bases. Just the impact that he has on the game is just every night you feel it. I think a lot of the teams the Reds play defensively, the cumulative effect of him just embarrassing you on the base paths is palpable and could cause other teams to make bad decisions defensively. I can't believe he plays for my favorite baseball team, man. I don't know what else to say. It's just incredible. The Reds won the lottery with him. 3 hard hit balls today. He's the dude. He's special.
He's amazing. He's amazing. And it's great that, like you said, it's just it feels like the Reds have never had a player that generates excitement like this. There's no words to really describe it.
Yeah, let's go to Joey Votto next, because as this feels like a theme this year where we have to talk about one guy first, but we're kind of like the next guy. We're like, man, it kind of feels bad that he's topic number 2 just because of a lot of times because of Elly De La Cruz, sometimes because of other people. But Joey Votto, man, already 7 home runs in 16 games. I tweeted something out earlier. The only players in Reds history that have hit more home runs at 39 years old or earlier are Bob Thurman, Barry Larkin, Ken Griffey Sr. That's the end of the list. Votto's done it in 16 games. He's for sure. He only needs 2 more to pass all those guys except for the legend Bob Thurman in 1957, who had 16. I mean, he's probably, going to have the most ever for a Reds player this long. I thought, Shay, what Joey Votto did in 2021 was incredible. I thought that season was, for him at 37 years old to still produce at that level, that year was incredible. And somehow Joey Votto, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. Somehow he's done it again, and it's even more impressive, at least so far this year in 2023, coming off a incredibly difficult shoulder injury.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because you say that Votto, is coming off of a major shoulder injury, like you said, that would be so tough for a 25-year-old, let alone a guy that's going to be 40 later this year. And he's just been great. He's come back. He's hit the ball hard. He's come back and he's delivered time and time again. And it's just nice to see. I was telling my buddy about this, Nick. I feel like I've never seen Joey Votto, or at least it's been a long time since I've seen Joey Votto this excited about playing baseball. And it looks like he's having fun every day. And that's exciting stuff.
Another great night as well for Will Benson. 2 for 4, home run, a triple. This dude loves playing baseball. Man, he's been a lot of fun to watch. Best 9-hole hitter in baseball, Shay?
Gotta be. He's gotta be. And I'm running out of ways to say how good Will Benson has been. Just a fantastic player. What I'll tell you about Nick that I've really been impressed with, is we knew the speed was there. We knew the power was there. What really has blown me away is just him putting it all together and just having consistently good at bats. I think with a player of the frame of Will Benson, it's natural for a guy that young, that early into his career to be kind of swing for the fences or swing and miss. And that's what we saw early in the season. But he just puts together good at bats. He gets on base. He's just an outstanding player. And he's looking like I said, he's gone from looking like a piece that would be a great depth outfielder in this organization to a guy that looks like he might be a future star for one of the best up and coming teams in the league.
Very well said, Shay. All right, Novi Marte's up. I'm gonna pause a little bit, kind of watch this. Hacking 3-0.
It's the futures game. You got to let him do that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love these camera angles in Seattle. All right. Grounded into a force out. All right. We'll see if he comes back up again while we're in the stream. As mentioned, we'll have in a few minutes coming up, Elijah Evans from Just Baseball going to talk to us about the MLB draft, which is surprisingly tomorrow. I feel like that's kind of snuck up on us, Shay. It's interesting how when you're in first place, the draft feels a little less important. Huh, Shay?
Yeah, it does. It's crazy. And it's just like I was joking with my sister actually earlier today. And I said, I can't remember the last time, Nick, that I was pacing back and forth in my apartment for a game at the beginning of July. That's the point that we're at right now. I mean, this team is playing important baseball games every single day, and it's crazy. And it's just a great place to be. It's stressful watching this team play important games every single day. But there's nothing I'd rather be doing. I mean, it's way more fun than watching it kind of, what really stood out to me, Nick, is that this team won 62 games a year ago, and the Reds just won their 50th game of the year on July 8th.
Yeah, this is a season, no matter really how it finishes out, it is definitely a season I'm never going to forget. The Reds are just so stinking far ahead of schedule. And it's just been incredible to watch. And a lot of it feels pretty sustainable. I know there's definitely holes in the pitching staff. We'll talk about that here in a second. But this offense is legit. I think it's fair to have some concerns about how some of these guys will hold up over their first 162. But man, there's just so many of them. It's not you're counting on. Well, we just need, we're just counting on Matt McClain and Elly De La Cruz and Spencer Steer, these rookies, to carry us. You don't need them every night. You have a deep lineup. You still have guys like Christian Encarnacion Strand and Novi Marte that could also be added up to this mix too at some point. So I don't know. Does the lineup feel as legit to you as it feels to me?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think, it's not quite the Atlanta Braves quite yet, of course, but it feels like what the Atlanta Braves lineup felt like a couple years ago, where you had a young Ronald Acuna Jr., a young Ozzie Albies, a young Michael Harris, a young, I'm trying to think, Austin Riley, a young, bringing up a young Vaughn Grissom, and just all these young pieces that kind of all came together and made this all-star team. And I'm not saying the Reds will ever be what the Braves are right now. I don't know. but it definitely has some comparisons to it. I think that the Reds have a bunch of young talent that is meshing together well, and you give it 2 or 3 years, this team could be, among the most feared lineups in baseball. I think they already are, but in 2-3 years, I think this could be a lineup that's as good as what the Atlanta Braves is right now.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anything wrong with that for sure. All right, let's get into Luke Weaver. Disappointing start. I mean, you really hope that he could build off that solid start against a bad Nationals team, but in fairness, this isn't really a good Brewers lineup either. Now, Willy Adames, I don't know. Maybe he's on a different level. Maybe you're seeing him just at a bad time. I don't know, but Weaver's just not missing enough bats, and I don't know how else to say it. I think he could still. I don't think you need to DFA him or anything like that. I think this Reds team might lack a long reliever, and I think that could be very valuable in the second half. I think Luke Weaver could maybe be that guy for this team, but I think his days are numbered. I don't necessarily think that until you get Green and Lodolo back, you have to make a move. I'm not convinced that Ben Lively or Brett Kennedy or whoever else is going to perform better over the next however many starts get you to the point of those two guys coming back, or maybe adding a starter to the deadline. But yeah, I mean, unless he has just some miraculous turnaround, it's hard to see how he sticks in this rotation.
Yeah, I think, obviously I know that the depth is thin with Hunter and Lodolo out, and there's not really much you can do. I mean, clearly the Reds think that Connor Phillips still needs to iron out some stuff in AAA, or else he'd be in Cincinnati. And I think, your options in AAA other than Connor Phillips right now are guys that we've seen, Randy Wynn and Brett Kennedy, and the guy they just called up, I think it's Michael Marriott. But it's just guys that don't really move the needle. So I think if we are inevitably, quote unquote, stuck with Luke Weaver for another month, which we very well might be, I'm just going to go back to what I said, a couple weeks ago. And I think it's that you got to find a way to, now that Derek Law is back, maybe bring in an opener for Luke Weaver, because his big struggles have always been in the first inning. Now, today it was the first and the third. The first, he only gave up one, but he gave up 3 in the third and 1 in the fourth. But I just think, him not having to face tough hitters in a lineup multiple times is what's going to be the best thing for him. So I think if you bring in an opener like a Derek Law or like a Tony Santillan, get the first 3-4 outs of the game, bring in Luke Weaver and try and get him to the 5th or 6th inning, I think that could be something that helps in the short term until guys like Hunter and Lodolo are back. And then you can reassess if you still want him in this rotation, or if you want to move forward with Hunter, Lodolo, Abbott, Williamson, and Lively/Ashcraft.
Yeah, that's a good point. And two, with the opener, maybe you could tell Luke, hey, we only want 3 innings out of you. And maybe he can, maybe maximize his talent a little bit more, throw a little bit harder, try to get some more swing and misses if he knows that that's coming. Shout out to our chat. Nelvi Marte stole third base and scored the first run of the game. Seems like he'll fit right in with this running Red Legs team. It seems like everyone does that. But, Jay, the Reds are fortunate. I mean, they are very fortunate that they've just had this unbelievable, incredible Dreamweaver luck. I don't know. Have you ever seen a pitcher that's been this bad?
I don't know.
That's 2-2 with his record, and they've won most of his starts.
It's unbelievable that he's pitched in 16 games, has an ERA of 7.02 and 2 losses. Are you kidding me? I mean, Jordan Lyles has a very similar stat line in terms of ERA and starts over in Kansas City, and people were calling him the worst starting pitcher of all time. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what kind of magic voodoo. I don't know if they're sacrificing chickens in the clubhouse like they were in Major League. But there's some sort of thing that Luke Weaver possesses that just brings out the best in everyone else on the 26-man roster. And you know what? I'm not a fan of Luke Weaver giving up 6 runs every time he takes the mound, but if the Reds are going to score 8 when he does it, whatever.
Yeah, and I'm glad you also brought up Connor Phillips. I think, he's definitely a guy that the Reds could bring up that's going to be better than a lot of options that they could get on the trade market. I think it's fine giving Phillips more time right now. I mean, two of his last 3 starts, he didn't make it out of the second inning. One of them he might have got hurt, but he still gave up a couple runs in that outing. So I don't necessarily think you need to rush him up. I think he could probably use a little bit more work, but he's at AAA now. I think he could definitely be a guy that gets in the mix. And I mean, I definitely think that he could be a contributor. I don't know if it would be great, but it's hard to say he probably would be worse than Luke Weaver once the Reds feel he's ready. But we'll kind of get to that point when we get there. Matt McLain, 3 for 5, 2 stolen bases. He just keeps humming along. This Matt McLain, incredible, rookie season. Our guys got a 880 OPS, hitting 301, and he's just like topic number 6. I feel like we're almost disrespecting Matt McLain, but I don't know what else we're supposed to do here, Shay.
I know it's crazy because I think that, first of all, I saw somebody earlier today say that, Matt McLain is a flash in the pan and it's only a matter of time before we see him fall back to earth. I don't know what the heck kind of baseball they're watching, but Matt McLain's a pretty dang good player. And they were talking today that, Matt McLain was in a little bit of a slump. I think it said he was 5 for his last 30, a little bit more strikeouts than we're accustomed to seeing. And he smoked the ball today. I mean, he's just one of those guys, Nick, that I'm confident he'll never get into a long-term slump because his approach is just so good and consistent. And he just, his focus is on hitting the ball hard. He's not focused on hitting the ball out of the ballpark or hitting the ball to a certain field or doing a certain thing with his swing. His focus is about just hitting the ball hard and getting on base. And him and Spencer Steer are very similar hitters. And I think it's why both of them are really never going to have extended slumps.
Yeah. And then checking out the NL Central, Cubs lost 6-3 to the Yankees. Love to see that. Cardinals won 3-0 over the White Sox, and the Pirates, they lost. I believe it went into extra innings. They lost 3-2 to the Diamondbacks. So here's our update with the standings. Your Reds, of course, have a 2-game lead on the Brewers, and then Reds are 8 games ahead of the Cubs, 9.5 ahead of the Pirates, and 12.5 ahead of the Cardinals. Shay, I think the most surprising thing to me might be just how much separation there is between the teams beyond the Brewers. I did not see anything like that coming. Did you?
No, well, not really. And I think it says a lot about how good the Reds and the Brewers have been over the last 2 weeks. Because Nick, less than 2 weeks ago, I mean, the top 4 teams in the Central were within 5 games of each other. And it felt like this could be a 3-4 team race until the end of August. And now all of a sudden you look at it and there's only 2 teams that are fighting for it and everyone else is almost 10 games out. And it's just crazy how fast it all happened. But the Reds took off. The Brewers, credit to the Brewers, they kind of held on to the bumper of the Reds vehicle that went full speed, and they're hanging in that rearview mirror. But right now it went from a 4-team race to Reds and Brewers look like they're going to be duking it out for the next 2.5 months.
Yeah, for sure. Not sure if Elijah. I don't know if Elijah is in yet or not. There he is.
There he is.
What's going on, guys?
Elijah, hey, thanks so much for joining us on last minute notice. I'm not a good preparer
No problem.
of these kind of things,
You're good,
but
man.
appreciate you. Elijah, tell all the folks the site you write for and what all you do.
I'm with Just Baseball Media. I've been there for about a year. If you guys haven't checked it out, you should check it out. I run the Twitter over there, so you can check us out, justbb_media. We get great interactions with Nick on the regular. We love our Reds at Just Baseball. It's been exciting posting Reds content the last month or two. And then you can find my articles on the website. So I do a lot of writing. I run the newsletter that goes out every week with all of our content. I do the Twitter, a bunch of various stuff. Also do some White I'm part of the Future Sox company, which does White Sox, prospects, minor leagues, all that type of stuff. I'm from Chicago, so done a lot of different stuff. I talked with Nick. Some of you may have heard a while back in March when I was out in Arizona doing some spring training stuff. Got to see the Reds play the White Sox in spring training, which was awesome. And I'm a part-time Reds fan at this point. They're a fun team. I've got to watch a lot of Reds baseball this year, and I love it, man. You guys got a bright future in Cincinnati right now.
Feels like a million years ago we talked during spring training when the Reds and White Sox played. It's great to get a perspective of someone who's actually there. Yeah, what a wild season since then. Well, Elijah, I wanted to bring you on to talk MLB draft because just baseball, and I'm not just saying this because you're on. I've said this many times, is the absolute best national coverage out there. Don't go to ESPN. Don't go to anyone else. Go to just baseball. These guys crush it from a national perspective, and the staff there does an incredible job covering the MLB draft, which is why I wanted to bring Elijah on with the Reds having a pick tomorrow. Elijah, first I want to ask you about pick number 1 because that does have an impact with the Reds because it is the Pirates making that pick.
Yep.
We were all bummed when the Reds lost the lottery. I think being in first place 2 games ahead at the All-Star break kind of makes that feel a little bit better. But I'm not a guy who follows the draft close. I wish I could follow it more, but I do enough with the Reds that I don't even need to think about that. But I know Dylan Cruz was the guy that everyone thought was going to be the for sure number 1 for a while, but Paul Skeens has kind of come up. How do you see that pick going for number 1 for the Pirates?
So you mentioned those 2 names, and right now it's neither of those 2. At least it seems like it might not be. So it's pretty interesting. Cruz has been kind of that guy for 6 months plus, where it's been, like he's just been the shoe in for the number 1. He had one of the most dominant college seasons ever this past year for LSU, led them to a national championship, just all of the above. He's been that guy. He's a true center fielder. He's got 5 tools. He can run. He's got insane pop. He's got bat to ball. I mean, he really has everything. And it seems as though, it's conflicting kind of why, but it seems as though he doesn't necessarily want to go to Pittsburgh at that one spot. In the last few weeks, there's been a lot of different reports coming out. And now it seems like there's a really good chance Pittsburgh might pivot to kind of the Dylan Cruz light in Wyatt Langford of Florida, who's another outfielder out of Florida who's been kind of the projected number 3 for a long time. He's been sitting right behind, Cruz as the top hitter, Paul Skeens as the top pitcher. But Wyatt Langford is a lot of what Cruz is, honestly. I mean, I think people have definitely underestimated to some degree what Langford can do. And, he's been kind of the clear-cut number 3 college guy. But if the Pirates are given the opportunity to sign a guy who wants to be there, isn't trying to force his way out in any way, and will underslot likely for that number 1 value in terms of money, there's a really good chance. And right now he's the betting favorite as of since yesterday, actually, it just flipped. So there's a lot of steam going the direction of Wyatt Langford, which is going to be really interesting to see. And there's also talks of Max Clark still, who's one of the top 2 big high school bats who could also be potentially in that spot. So, what seemed like an obvious pick a week or 2 ago is not. And you can check out Just Baseball's last mock of the season just came out today. And we've got Wyatt Langford going 1. So it's pretty crazy turn of events in the last week or 2.
So I've heard a lot about the top 5 players. There being a big drop off after that. Of course, the Reds are at number 7. Do you see it that way? Number 1, and then let's start with who are the top players available that you think will have a chance to be left by the time the Reds get to that pick.
Yeah, so I think there is a top 5. There's a world where it changes, but most likely the guys I just mentioned with Cruz, with Langford, with Skeens, and then the top 2 high school bats and Max Clark and outfielder Walker Jenkins are the clear kind of top 5 and have been for a while. Even if Langford is to jump into that 1 spot, more likely than not, I mean, it's the MLB draft. Anything can happen. This isn't basketball. This isn't football. I mean, baseball, the MLB draft is way more unpredictable than a lot of other drafts. And you have to factor in slot value and guys, some teams will you look at the Pirates 2 years ago, right? Henry Davis wasn't going to be the number 1 pick. He was never going to be. They underslotted him. They were able to have that money towards going overslot with guys that should have got drafted earlier in the later rounds. So things can change a lot. But assuming those 5 guys go 1 through 5, regardless of the order, which it still seems like they're gonna, I think it comes down to 2 players for the Reds. And they could get creative. They could change things up. But in my opinion, it comes down to the best catcher in college baseball this past year in Kyle Teal. And I know people you don't draft for fit. Everybody says this in the MLB, but Kyle Teal deserves to be a top 10 pick. It's not like you're reaching for somebody who's, 15th, 20th in talent. This guy's been the best he's the best catcher we've seen since Henry Davis and possibly even since Adley Rutschman, frankly. I mean, there's a chance you could argue that. I think Henry Davis is looking like he's going to be a piece for the Pirates for sure, but Kyle Teal had a phenomenal season and really showed not only that his bat can play, but that he's a legitimate catcher this year. And yes, you're not drafting for need. That's not a smart decision. But drafting a 22-year-old catcher for the Reds, not a bad idea. I can imagine Reds fans right now are like, I know Tyler Stevenson's been better lately, but considering the amount of infield depth, considering some other things, it's an interesting idea to have a catcher who could be league ready sooner than later and is really a good catcher, not just a hitter. And then the other side of things, you guys, I mean, I know the Reds pitching depth, you got a lot of guys coming up, but the pitching right now, at least the pitching's the only real concern with the team. The offense has been great. And you look at Rhett Lauder. So somebody just said this right now. Rhett Lauder is the other option at the 7 pick that I see being probably the most likely of any possible pick. Rhett Lauder is an excellent college pitcher. We saw him duke it out from Wake Forest. We saw him duke it out with Paul Skeens in the College World Series. In the semifinals of the College World Series, we saw, the Skeens and Lauder matchup, the top 2 pitchers in the draft class probably at this point. And Lauder kept up. He held his own against Paul Skeens and was honestly had just as good of a start as Skeens in that College World Series. And the entire down the stretch of the season in college looked phenomenal. He's a really developed pitcher. He's got a lot of advanced stuff. He's going to take a little bit of time to find his grounding and stabilize. The command can get a little shaky, as it did a few times this season, but generally speaking has been pretty good. And I think Lauder, it's not an immediate promotion guy. I don't think it's quite like you're not drafting Ben Joyce, and at the 7 you can't. I mean, I think there's an argument, you want help immediately, and I get that, and the Reds are contending, which maybe some people did, very few people expected. But I think with Lauder, you're looking at a guy who could, in 2 years be a real piece in your rotation, which is exciting, definitely.
All right, last question for you before we get you out of here. Really appreciate your time, Elijah.
No
Is there anyone that you see as maybe a wild card? Like last year, the Reds got Cam Collier. I don't think a single person on the planet thought he was going to fall to the Reds. Is there anyone that maybe one of those top 5 that could fall? Maybe not likely, but maybe there's a potential or someone else that you see out there.
Yeah. Within that top 5, there is definitely a chance Max Clark were to fall. Of anybody, he is definitely the hopeful, dream on high school type player, where I could see a world where a few of the teams ahead of the Reds want somebody that they can count on a little bit sooner, and they could possibly have a little bit more dependability in terms of the ceiling and the floor. So I could see a world where Clark falls to the Reds. It would mean an overslot. If Clark falls below like the 5, he's going to have to get paid significantly more than the slot value in order to sign. So I think it's a little risky there with Clark, and I could see him falling. Beyond that, I could see Chase Dollander. He's a Tennessee pitcher. He came into the year as pretty much a consensus top 3 pick, which is interesting because he's fallen definitely down the boards from where he was. Paul Skeens and Rhett Lauder have definitely both passed him in the ranks of pitchers. But Dollander's stuff is as good as anybody. I mean, he was up there. His stuff was as good as Paul Skeens coming into the year, and is still as good, frankly. For him, it's just he gets a little wild at times. He had a sporadic season. He struggled giving up some long balls here and there in college with Tennessee. So it's going to be interesting to see where Dollander falls. I think I've seen mocks with him going as early as 6, and I've also seen mocks with him going as late as like 13, 14, even 15. So he's got a wide range of outcomes, but the Reds could get aggressive there, especially if the more likely situation I see with Dollander is if Lauder were to sneak into the top 6. If they don't want to go catcher with Teal, if they really want to go pitcher, I could see Dollander being the option there. The last one I would say is maybe Noble Meyer. He's the top prep arm. He's the top high school pitcher in the class. So I think he's a guy that is also a wide range, and it's more of a long-term option. He's going to take some time. He's 18 coming into this draft, so he's a young guy. But his projectability as a high school pitcher is as high as anybody's. It's a little more risk and a little more time involved. And I think the Reds would really like to go college just in general in this draft, based on their situation, based on what they're looking for in terms of a stable prospect. But if you're looking for that high like future potential pitcher, I think Noble Meyer could be an option to the 7. But honestly, I do think things can change. As I said, the draft is so unpredictable. But I do think Lauder or Teal ends up being the choice there. And I think both would be a great pick. And the Reds are in a good spot. I know people are talking about the top 5, but there really is a lot of talent from the 6 to 20 range. It's just not as clear where guys are going to go. But I think any of those guys I mentioned would be a really solid pick for the Reds.
Well, Elijah, we really appreciate your time. I know Just Baseball will have all kinds of great
Tons of
content
stuff.
following the draft, and we'll be sure to be dialed in and see what you guys have to say. Maybe I'll bug one of you guys to come on after we make
You
a
should.
pick. But appreciate you, Elijah. Enjoy the draft tomorrow. Is this like what's this like on the scale of like to Christmas for you?
It's pretty up there, honestly. Before last year, I don't know if it would have been, but I'd put it at like an 8 on that scale. It's pretty exciting. I'm pumped. I mean, I've really gotten into prospect stuff in the last year, so it's going to be really exciting. It's a fun time for baseball. It's good. I love that they made it the same weekend as All-Star break. It's cool. If anybody's in Seattle, Just Baseball's hosting a draft party at a pub nearby. You can check out the Twitter and everything for the info. But it's going to be a fun event. It's just a great weekend. It's going to be, it leads into the Derby and the All-Star game and everything else coming up. So it's good times.
All right, Elijah, we'll appreciate it. Have a good one, buddy.
For sure. Take care. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Well, good stuff there from Elijah. Thanks to him. It came on really last minute to help us out. I know nothing about the draft, so I lean on the people who follow it. Shay, do you follow the draft at all? Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you have anything you'd like to see the Reds maybe do tomorrow?
I know maybe like the top 10, 15 prospects. Yeah. I know the guys that pitched in the College World Series and all that stuff too. But if I could pick, I want Rhett Lauder. I like what I've seen from him. I think he'd also, other than Skeens, I think Lauder versus guys like Hudson Waltrip out of Florida and Dolander out of Tennessee. I think Lauder would be the fastest path to the majors. And I think that's really what the Reds are looking for, is a guy that can make an impact fast, kind of like he hinted at. So my preference is Rhett Lauder, but I mean, there's a lot of good prospects in this draft. It'd be hard for the Reds to screw this up.
Yeah, I'm just the best available. Whoever's the best available.
I agree.
That's what I want to see. One last topic I wanted to hit on the ball game today from the Reds before we get in a little bit about tomorrow and what's coming up. Reds bullpen. 4 1/3 innings. No, 5 1/3 innings. Scoreless baseball. They allowed 3 hits. They only walked 2. I mean, just how incredible is this bullpen been, Shay?
They're so good. It's crazy. And it's really because it's even crazier, Nick, because it doesn't feel like, it's been the same 8 all year. We've seen a little bit of Law, and then he got hurt. And then we saw a little bit of Duarte right now. And then we've seen a little bit of Fernando Cruz when he got hot. And we've seen a little bit, Alexis Diaz has been pretty dang dominant, but we've seen stretches where Lucas Sims looked like a top 10 arm in the league. We saw stretches where Alex Young looked unhittable. I mean, it's just been a different guy stepping up. It feels like at different stages of the year. We even saw the legendary night that was Ricky Karcher. So this Reds bullpen, unbelievable, just with the adversity they've seen, pitching a lot of innings and having a lot of different guys in there. They've excelled.
Let's read through some of these ERAs from the guys that pitched today. Ian Jabot, who's got a lot of flack, he's got a 3.35 ERA. Daniel Duarte is 3.38. Lucas Sims is 3.09. Buck Farmer is 3.65. Alexis Diaz is 2.03. This bullpen, what they've done, I mean, that is a lot of innings to cover. And the fact that every single one of those guys came in and contributed, that's what kept the Red season afloat early in the year before a lot of Elly De La Cruz and Matt McClain and Andrew Abbott came up and made real big impacts. And then the rebirth of Will Benson and then the rebirth of Joey Votto. But this bullpen, what they did early in the year, really just saved the Reds so much. And then to see them just continue it now, it's great. I think they could probably use some help in the second half still. I know we've kind of all go to the rotation, but I think the Reds could use a couple, fresh arms. Doesn't have to be great. It could be like a Michael Givens type situation where they brought him in. I think a piece like that could be really, really big for this team in the second half. Just another quality arm, another reliable arm. But yeah, what a job. All right, let's look at the Reds minor league scoreboard. Some games just getting underway. Daytona, they're down 1-0. Louisville's trailing Toledo 4-1, and then Chattanooga up 1-0 over Rocket City. Dayton Dragons, I think they were in a rain delay. I think they're getting ready to start. In the podcast, we'll run through all of the Reds minor league action in your podcast form tomorrow. Reds doesn't look like they've announced a starter yet. I was just checking. Still a TBA for the Reds, but it will be Wade Miley, our old friend, going for the Brewers. The Brewers had a choice of Miley or Julio Teheran because they have a 6-man rotation, and they decided to go with Miley. I think it's probably a smart decision on their on their behalf. What's your thoughts on Reds going up against Wade Miley, Shay?
I agree that I think it was probably the better option for Craig Counsell. I think the Reds can score, obviously, against righties and lefties. I think there's been years, Nick, where the Reds were just absolutely helpless against left-handed pitching. I don't think that's the case this year. But I do think they are stronger against righties with Fraley and with Benson and with guys like that. Friedel in the leadoff spot. But I think, Wade Miley, if that cutter is working, he'll be tough. But, velocity's down. Maybe for the young guys like McLean and Elly, it might take an at-bat to kind of get used to the ball coming in about 86 versus 96. But I think, Miley's the type of pitcher that a lot of balls get put in play. He does not get a lot of swings and misses. I think the Reds have talented hitters that if they can put the ball in play, they're going to find a way to score some runs. So I like the Reds' chances. We don't know who's throwing yet for the Reds tomorrow. Could be Lively. I guess if Lively's not ready, it'd probably be Marriott, the guy they called up from Louisville today. But I think the Reds have a good chance to take this series tomorrow, which after the way that yesterday went, you'd think that the sky was falling and that they wouldn't have a chance to win this series in Milwaukee, but here we are.
Yeah. I would like to see Derek Lull start tomorrow. I like to see them start with Lull and then maybe work their way backwards. I think I would like seeing that. But Wade Miley's had an interesting year. He had a 1.86 ERA through his first 5 starts of the year in April. Since then, he's had a couple good starts, some other really bad ones. Real positive, though, his last time out was against the Cubs. Gave up 9 hits and 4 earned runs, walked 2 and gave up a home run. So, hopefully the Reds are getting Miley at a good time. But hey, this could be a huge game for the Reds. Obviously we talked. Look, the most important thing was just go into Milwaukee and win one. Reds have accomplished that, but man, you get a 3-game lead going to the All-Star break. Gives you some cushion in that first series back. I know you're expecting the Reds to win 2 or 3 at home, but it gives you the cushion that even if you only won 1 of 3 at home, you still earn first place at the end, or you could build upon that. So,
yep.
Yeah, big opportunity here for the Reds. We'll see how it goes. Of course, we'll be live after the game. And I saw someone asking, Mr. Juan asks, when is Bryce coming back? And Mr. Juan, Bryce is going to be here tomorrow. Hopefully after Jonathan India goes 5 for 5 with 5 home runs.
First player to ever hit 5 bombs. There you go.
But yeah, Bryce will be on our post game tomorrow. So look forward to having him on to wrap up the first half. And then, like I mentioned before, we'll do some podcasts next week, try to have something up every day for you. But Shay, you are awesome. Thank you so much for always helping us fill in. So we can continue to do this every single day. We appreciate each and every one of you who tune in. Of course, be sure to listen to the podcast version. Like I said, I'll add some minor league content, recap what happened around the minor leagues tonight. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We've had a lot of people leave reviews on the podcast. We really appreciate all of you. If you haven't yet, we'd love if you did that for us. That would mean a lot. Well, have a great rest of your Saturday. We will see you around 4:40 tomorrow. Go Reds. All right, folks, you thought I forgot. I did forget. There you go. Nick Cage for dubs.